Hi, I'm in South Morang again, doing another job in Granite country. Did a lot of house sites here about 10 to 15 years ago. This is one that didn't get done. Have a look at these beauties. Look at that. Oh yeah, and that. Give you nightmares, wouldn't it? Yeah, okay, well, the builders and earth movers here decided to have a crack at it themselves. They rented a drill, drilled some holes down there and over there and up over there and under my machine. They drilled a few holes with a rental drill. They bought some cracking agent. I'm going to give it a shot themselves. They drilled for 3 days and decided that it is actually quite hard work. They got the idea from watching my videos on YouTube and decided they'd give it a go, but then thought, well, maybe we'll just call Dave. So I bought the little machine out here, drilling lots of holes on 400mm centres for the cracking agent, which they have got plenty of. And we'll give it a crack, see how it goes. Just lunchtime, having a break, and that's how many holes I've drilled this morning, up to 2 metres deep. Cheers. Hi, it's day 2 at South Morang at this very granity site cut. I've done a fair bit of drilling this morning again. Drilled 73 metres yesterday, which was a pretty good day. So I finished drilling that one. Finished drilling this one, including making the other guy's holes a lot deeper, because most of them are only 400 deep. Some of them were deeper, but 400mm in this rock's not gonna crack it, not at all. Finished drilling this one with a hand drill, because I started out with a 2.4 metre drill and I lost the end off it. It's a knock-on bit, and I didn't have my remount kit with me to fix it, which was a bit of a dud, and the other 2.4 I had didn't have an end on it, so I couldn't put one on either. So I did it with a shorter drill and just finished it off with a hand drill, because it's much easier just to finish it with a hand drill rather than trying to get the drill rig to poke it back down the same hole again. It's fairly problematic, good way to bend your rods. Yeah, so that one will be done today also, hopefully. Just going to work on this one now. Again, the other guys have poked some holes in here, some very short holes. So I've got to make them deeper and drill some more holes up the front. Just want to put a shout out to one of my suppliers that went beyond what was normal yesterday. LHS Rock Tools. Buy a lot of drill rods and drill heads and stuff off them. And yeah, when the 2.4 quit, the 2.4mm drill rod, it was a knock-on, one of these ones with the taper fit bits. They just hold on with the Morse taper. And you've got to be a bit careful using them, because they can come off easily, especially with this machine, because the hammer that's on it is a short stroke high frequency hammer. It doesn't hit very hard, but it hits very often. And yeah, if you haven't got your wits about you, they can come off. Better off with a long stroke hammer to keep them on. Anyway, I rang LHS yesterday and told them what I wanted. And when do you want them? They said, and I said, oh, today, now. And they said, right, we'll bring them over, which is pretty good. Coming from the other side of town, they delivered. How's that? That's service with a smile. So what I've got, I've just got some, I think I can undo that with one hand. Hang on a sec. Right, I'll try again. So I just got a different sort of drill. It's a rope thread. It's an R25, like 25mm rope thread. These ones don't fall off, which is good. The coupling is not quite as efficient as the taper ones, but at least it won't fall off, which is very helpful. Haven't used these much in the small size, in the 25. I've used the 32s and 38s on the drill rig, but not in the 25, so I'll just pop that right in now and we'll drill a couple of holes and see how it goes. Friday morning on the job bright and early before it gets hot. We're going to fill these holes with Expando today. I've got 200 kilos here. Got the customer's product, which is EcoBurst. Very similar to the Expando I normally use. Probably all comes out of the same factory. Bit of an issue that customer's been supplied the Type 1, which is 20 to 35 degrees C, which is really a bit on the high side for what we're using here. It's going to take a week to break. So I'm going to blend it half and half with some Expando Type 3, which is the low temperature one. And that will speed it up quite considerably, I hope. Alright, I'll get mixing and we'll shove it in those holes up there before it heats up too much. Cheers. Alright, just going to mix some Expando. I'm going to put the full face mask on to keep myself safe, and that's not being overcautious, by the way. This stuff is really bad. If you get it in your eyes or your lungs, you really know it. So be warned. Yeah. Back at South Moraine this morning. Let's have a look at this cracking agent. Oh, okay. So that part of the rock's done really well. It's because I drilled through the bottom of it a few of those holes, so it's really well smashed. The right hand side there's come off good for the same reason. The rest of it's cracking. Not completely cracked, but cracking. I've no idea how deep this rock is. Quite deep, I'd say. A lot of these holes are 2 meters deep. Yeah, okay, it's progressing nicely. I think that'll need a few more days though before we have a go at bashing this out. Let's have a look at the other ones. Okay, on the left hand side, the perimeter, or the batter line on this one is broken fairly well. That's good. Now that's broken, I can fill these other holes to get it to break across that way. Let's go across the other side. This little one's busted up good. This one here, which again wasn't very thick rock, the edge line seems to have busted up all right. This one up here not so good. That's a worry. Now this has just got a small crack along the edge. Bear in mind these holes are 1.55 metres deep, and struggled to break. That'll need a few more days, I think. That tells me that rock could be very deep, quite a big one, which is a bit of concern. Alright, we'll drill some more holes up in here, I guess. One day earlier than expected. They're going to try and pull some of this rock out just using the ripper. The plan was to use the breaker tomorrow, but I want to see how much they can get with the ripper. They'll get some, but not sure how much. Probably not a whole lot. A lot less than they expect, I think. So what are we doing, Sam?
I'm trying to get through these rocks, mate. Quite hard, but never get the ripper.
I think maybe you need some more brute force.
Trying to get buggers out, mate.
And less mechanical sympathy.
They're like big asteroids stuck in the earth.
They are.
Alright, mate.
Cheers. Arrived at the site this morning to find a guy unloading this 24-ton case machine, which was not expected. So now I've got no room to move. I had thought about moving this machine so I could move that machine and get back up on the side here and drill some holes in these rocks behind me. But that's not going to happen just yet without keys to that Hitachi. Well, the rocks, how are we going? That one's going good. That one's going pretty good. This one's had a shot with the ripper on last Wednesday, and previously those holes hadn't cracked, but they've cracked good now. Thursday was a bit of a stuff up. There was a rented breaker for the Hitachi which didn't fit, almost fit, and after much mucking around, no, it didn't fit. So that's why the case is here today, because the hire company supplied that but forgot to deliver the breaker. So that's coming. Alright. Now the last fill was on Thursday. This piece of rock here, I put 95 kilos of goo in it. All these holes are 3 metres deep. I had a good level of confidence that it would break well, because a couple of the holes on the right hand edge actually went through the bottom of the rock, and that's quite good if you want to break it. That's really good. So that's cracked up fairly well. I'm sure that will pull out. That probably would pull out with the ripper. Won't need the breaker. This one over here is continuing to crack, but that's going to need a serious hammer massage. And there's a bit there which will yank out too. That'll come out pretty easy, I think. And someone else has turned up at the side at the front, so better go see who that is. Finally the breaker has arrived. Not as big as the one that was here on Thursday, but still really good. Beat it.